Hello and welcome to this tutorial on how to create an awesome website on the cheap. And when I say awesome, I mean a website that you wouldn't be embarrassed to show other people. And even if you spend a lot more time on it, it's probably something that you could actually even sell or resell, or maybe you could even go design a website for someone else. Now, this tutorial is meant for people who are newbies or beginners. And so a lot of these topics that I talk about, if you are used to creating websites, this would be very basic for you. So the first thing you're going to need to do is buy a domain name. That's the most important thing. And so the company I'm going to start off is with GoDaddy. So all you have to do is go to godaddy.com and type in the domain name that you think you might want. And so let's go ahead and try this. Lovefroglegs, okay, .com, okay. And you don't necessarily have to have a .com. You could choose .net, .org. There's so many other ones. So let's see if that's available. And it should be, since I looked it up a little bit earlier. And if you want to get that domain name, oh, you just stole my idea. So the domain name is available, and you could buy it for $9.99, and that's for 1 year, by the way. And you could also buy different other versions as well, as you could see right here, all the different extensions. You could even buy it in packages. But for this case, just buy the .com. If the .com's not available and you really want that name, .net, .org, and even like .tv works just as well. Now, if you go ahead and select it, you could go ahead and select this right here and continue to cart. And as you can see, if you buy more, you get like special savings on it. Now, as with all these services, they are going to try to sell you additional things. About the only thing that I would recommend that you purchase is this right here. This is protect my personal information. So that's an additional $7.99 per year. And what that is if somebody goes to the Whois, and it's basically like an internet domain directory. Whenever you register, it actually takes your personal information and puts it on that directory. So if you go to Whois right here, and it should be like Whois .net. That should be the main site. So if you went over here and you typed in the domain name, it will actually show a lot of your personal information. So if you went to something like Forbes.com, it has a lot of information on there. See right here. So it has all this stuff. So if you didn't get this privacy protection, it would actually show your name and your address. So you definitely want to get that, okay? And the rest of this stuff, I would definitely ignore. Just don't get anything else except for this privacy protection. So with that, it is going to increase the price. So you're looking at about $20, I guess. Yeah. Let's go ahead and continue to cart. They're going to try to sell you a lot of other services. So yeah, just go ahead and get that domain first. And as you'll see, it's going to automatically choose 2 years. Don't do that. Just do for 1 year. Yeah, so it's just about $20. It's $18 there, and that's it. Now that you have your domain, in this case, I didn't purchase this domain. I already have a domain, and that's the one that we're going to be using. So after you purchase the domain, the next thing you're going to need is hosting. So for all the people who are not familiar with how the internet works, just in real basic terms, your domain name, just think of it like your home address. Okay, that's your home address. Okay, and the hosting is your actual house, where your house is built on. So just think of it that way. Domain name is your address, the hosting is your actual house. And so here you need a place to build your house on. You need a place to host your website. So the site that I'm going to be talking about recommending is HostGator. So here, when you come here, all you have to do is go to web hosting right here. And the reason why you had to get your domain name first is because you're going to have to put a domain name here or buy one here before you could get the web hosting. Okay. Now, HostGator makes it really easy. There's 3 different plans, and don't get this plan. Do not get this plan. Don't worry about why not. Just get this one, the baby plan. So it's like $7 a month, which is great. You know, that's a wonderful price, and just go ahead and purchase that. I already have a domain, and so you would choose this one right here. So that's why we purchased that earlier. So you would type in your domain that you bought at GoDaddy and put it right here. Okay, and here, you know, they're always going to charge you for as much as possible. So if you're new to creating websites or building a website, just go ahead and choose the month to month. You know, it's $9.56. Okay, so you're going to put in username, a security pin, and all your billing info, and do not check any of these other services. Uncheck that one. Okay, so don't get any additional services. Okay, and if you did have a coupon code, you know, put that in there, and that's it. There'll be an amount due, and whenever you do make your payment, what's going to happen is HostGator is going to send you an email, and I'm going to show you an example of the one that I got, and then for the domain name that we're going to be using in this tutorial. So this is the domain HostGator email that I got. I did take out some personal information here, but they're going to show your password right here. They're going to tell you your username. This is the domain name that we're going to be using. This one I purchased already. It's going to show your password and also the name servers. Now, all this information is very, very important. And so the most important thing here, besides obviously your username and password and so forth, is this thing right here, this name server 1 and name server 2. You know, copy and paste this somewhere. So now we're going to go to the very next step. So you're going to take these name servers, okay, and you're going to go into your GoDaddy.com account that you created. So log in. And when you do log in, you're going to go here to domains, okay, and then all domains. And then after all domains, find the domain name that you just purchased. In my case, I purchased YouTubelover.com. Great name. You can't buy it because I already did. And so here you see where it says name servers. I've already added it, but if you go to manage right here, a pop-up should come up. And the standard is it's going to have GoDaddy's name servers there. So you would click on custom and edit name servers or add name server, and then you would go ahead and put the name server information that you got from HostGator, okay, then save it. And typically this could take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours for this to actually work, but normally it takes a few hours. And so that's it for buying your domain and then changing the name servers, pointing it to HostGator, which you just now purchased. So after you have done all that, and you've checked that if you after you go to your new domain that you actually see something there, you know, you are ready to go to your hosting, and you would log into your HostGator account. And when you log in for the first time, you should see all these tabs. What you want to do is go to hosting right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go down to launch quick install. Now what we're doing here is we're actually going to be installing the software, in this case content management system, that's going to allow you to create your website. So we're going to go to launch quick install, and all you need to do is go to one-click installs, or it just default there. And what you want to do is you want to install WordPress. Now there are other content management systems out there like Drupal, Joomla, Magneto, and then, you know, there's other services like Webby and Squarespace, but the majority of websites out there, they are all built on WordPress, and WordPress is free. So just click on here. So when you click on it, you should come to this screen right here for the WordPress, and the only one that you should click on is this one, install WordPress. Do not choose any of these other options. So go ahead and click on install WordPress, and here you only have one domain, so this is the only one that should show up. However, as you add more domains, you have a larger list of domains to choose from. So just choose that. Don't worry about this right here. And be sure to put an email here that you actually use. It's very important. So put your email there. and then your blog title, whatever you want, doesn't matter. We're going to change that later. And your admin user, whatever username is easy for you. So I'm going to put frogs. And don't worry, a password will be generated. And your first and last name, you put whatever you want. I'm going to put FO OGS. Yeah, really clever. And after that, you just go ahead and click on Install WordPress, and it'll go ahead and install it. And as you can see, it's going to try to sell you stuff. Just don't worry about it. Close it. It's really annoying that it pops up right there, because a lot of people are going to accidentally click on it and buy something that they didn't want. Okay. And then there you go. WordPress is now installed, and this is so much easier than it used to be back in the day when you would do this manually. So after your website is installed, you should have got an email with your credentials, but if you need that, go right here to view credentials. Be sure to copy and paste this somewhere. This is very important, okay? And later on, you could change these passwords, which I usually do anyway. But that's where you're going to log in to get access to your new WordPress website. So that is it for the very first important steps in creating your website. So what we did there was we went to GoDaddy and we bought our domain. And then we went to HostGator to get hosting, and then we set up our domain name servers, and finally we actually installed WordPress on our new website. So on the next few steps, we're going to actually create our awesome website. Okay, now that you have your website set up, domain, everything's good. If you go to the website, as I am now, you should see something like this. This is a very basic website. This is actually the default install whenever you do get WordPress set up. So now it's time to create our amazing website. So what you're going to do is, whatever your domain name is, you just do /wp-admin, as you can see there, and press enter. Okay, now you're just going to put in the username and password that you had saved a little earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in right now. Alright, now that you are logged into your WordPress website, you're going to be greeted with this. And what is all this? What's all this? Well, if you've never created a WordPress website before, this can initially seem really overwhelming. But you know what? Be calm. You get used to it. So I'm going to go over these sections right here, some of them more quickly than others. And I'm going to also talk about the areas that we're going to be focusing a lot of our time on. So as you can see, the first thing is the dashboard. And what this does is it quickly gives you a glance of things going on your website, and also news from WordPress themselves. Moving over to updates. And this is basically exactly what it means. So if there's any software updates to your WordPress site, your plugins or themes, and I'll explain these a little bit later, everything related to that is going to be right here. Now we get down to posts. You're going to be spending a lot of time here. You know, WordPress was pretty much created for blogging initially, and this is where you're going to take care of all your blogs. Everything's going to be right here under posts. Now, I know everybody loves to take their selfies and all their videos and music. Well, this is where you can upload all your different media files, such as your pictures, your images, music, videos, anything related to those three categories. It's going to be uploaded right here. Next up is links. Be honest with you, I don't ever use this at all, so we'll just skip that one. Now, pages. Every website needs website pages. Very important. You're going to be spending a lot of time here if your site requires a lot of pages. So all of that is going to be right here. And comments. The lovely, lovely comments. Everybody loves commenting. So if you're the type of person who loves to have comments on your website, this is where you're going to manage all that. Appearance. Very big section. Lot to cover. We're going to be spending a lot of time here.
So WordPress, it works on themes in terms of the way it looks. So themes control how WordPress looks and also some of its functionality as well. So this is where the majority of our tutorial is going to be, because under each section there are different categories here. We're going to spend a lot of time under appearance. So this is very important when you're setting your site up initially, and also very important as you're adding things or you're changing things to your website. But typically, the most of your time in this area is going to be spent when you are creating your site initially, unless you're that type of person who has, like a very short attention span and you're changing themes every 15 minutes. Okay. So speaking of functionality, let's talk about plugins. Now, WordPress is built on top of these things called plugins, and what they are, they add additional functionality to your websites. There are literally thousands of plugins available for WordPress, and there are tons being added every single second. So, you're going to be adding a lot of plugins, removing plugins, and so forth. So you're going to be in this area quite a bit, especially at the beginning when you're trying to learn about what plugins work best and what don't. Okay, let's head over to users. And just as it sounds, this is where you're going to manage all your users. Now the tools and settings, these are going to get bigger as you add more plugins. So there will be additional tools and settings available as you add more plugins. But as far as it is right now, this is just an import and export tool. That's the only thing that's available right now. So that allows you to import and export your website. Now settings, a lot like appearance, there's a lot of areas underneath here, and you will be spending more time on these as you are adding more plugins. So that is your settings area, and that's exactly where we're going to start off right now at the beginning. So this is very important when you first set up your site to come to your settings and set everything up base wise. Okay, so the first thing is the name of your site. Okay, so right now the default is my blog. I'm going to name this cool site. Okay, and you could also add a subtitle as well. They call it tagline, but it's like a subheading. So let's put something in here. This is an awesome, cool site. That is my tagline. And the rest of the stuff, just leave that alone. About the only thing you might want to change is your email address. Anything that goes on your website, it's going to send it here. So definitely put an email on there that you use regularly. Okay, so don't forget to save your changes. And if you need to change the date and time settings, you can do that here. But I normally just leave that the way it is. Okay, let's head over to writing. Okay, you're not going to do much here. Okay, some people do. I don't. Now for reading, this will be definitely important for you to set up initially. So this is very important right here, your front page displays. So this will determine the type of website that you have. So if you're the type of person who loves to blog and you want this to be primarily a blog site, leave this checked. Okay, and most people do use WordPress, or even websites in general. Most people use that to blog. Okay, and the second option is a static page. So these pages are ones that are not primarily geared towards blogging. They're like let's just say like a business site. You go to a business site, you're going to see a page, but it's not going to be focused purely on blogging first. So we're going to go over this as we're doing the tutorial. So just remember that part. Let's go to discussion. So here, as I talked about earlier, talk about commenting. This is where you can control that, whether or not you have comments on your website. So there are a lot of options here. I really don't deal with comments on my sites, but this is where you can control all that. Okay, and here you could show avatars. So this up here is an avatar. So you could change different things. So I'm going to use this avatar. Go ahead and save changes. And there it goes. My avatar just changed. Okay. media. This is not something that you're really going to get into at the beginning, but later on, as you get more experience, you might need to adjust how media is handled on your website. So this is where you do that at. Now this one, permalinks, this is very important for you to do this at the beginning. Don't worry about all this other stuff. Just know that check this right here, or check this radio button. Post name. Make sure it's post name and nothing else. Okay. And let's go ahead and save that. Okay. And you won't ever come back to this. So unless you want to do more advanced things, you would come back. But post name is what you should choose. And this is actually a plugin that was installed automatically. So this limits the amount of time people can actually try to log into your site. Okay. So that's the first tour of all the main sections of our website. So now you should be fairly comfortable in terms of just getting around. So you should be an expert by now. So one thing that I wanted to talk about is right here, this profile. Admin is not a good thing to use in terms of usernames, but which we don't have. But I'm going to go over something real quick. You could change that, the way it looks. It says admin right now. Okay. So if you clicked on here, you could change this. You could put a nickname, something for yourself. So I'm going to put frog legs. I don't know why I'm thinking about frog legs. So let's choose frog legs. And we're going to update profile. And bam, now you're frog legs and not admin. Admin, so boring. So before we begin, I want to talk about one plugin that you should definitely install before you do anything else. Okay, so let's go ahead and install a plugin. So obviously, if you are not familiar with WordPress, you're not going to know what to search for in terms of plugin. But you can look at all the wonderful plugins here. There's thousands of them. So you can look at featured, popular, recommended, favorites, and so forth. But the plugin that I want you to install is WordFence. Okay, hopefully I spelled that right. And what this plugin is this one, WordFence Security. You can look at the more details if you like. Okay, and you get used to doing this once you install plugins more regularly. But all I want you to do is just go ahead and install this plugin. So it's going to take a minute. Okay, it's installed. Just click on activate. Okay, and once you activate this particular plugin, it should ask you for an email to put on there. So while that's activating, what is WordFence Security? Well, basically, websites, it's like your home. So you're always going to have people who try to break into it. So having a plugin like this will actually help protect your site. Now, as I stated, it's going to ask for your email. Okay, so you could uncheck this to get alerted, but we're going to add our email right here. So basically, if you ever have any issues with your site, like somebody trying to hack into it, or just weird stuff that's going on, WordFence is going to send an alert to this particular email. So make sure, once again, it's an email that you use regularly. Okay, so once you put your email there, go ahead and click on Start Tour. And don't worry about the rest. Basically, we're just doing that so that we could get your email on there. So just end the tour. Okay, so now let's get into the meat of this whole website. Let's go ahead and start building your website. So let's go ahead and go to Appearance and Themes. Now, if you're new to WordPress, you can use any of the built-in themes right here. This is automatically installed with WordPress. Or you could, add your own themes. So if you come here to the theme store, let's go ahead and add new. A lot like plugins, there are like thousands of themes, and this is like so many of them. All of these are free, by the way, but WordPress also has a huge bunch of paid themes that are on a variety of websites. But all the ones that are here in WordPress, they are all free. So there's like countless themes available, and you could pretty much spend days just, trying out different themes and so forth. Okay, so which theme do I recommend? Well, you can use the basic as I just stated, but if you want something a little bit cooler and with a lot more power, then I recommend you try this theme here. So as you see, all your themes are featured, popular, latest, favorites. Go here to popular. And as you see, the default themes, they're already installed, and they're the most popular, obviously, because they are already pre-installed. But the theme that I recommend is this one down here, Sydney. Once that loads up, I might have scrolled too far, but let's go back up here. This one right here. So just go ahead and install that. You could preview it if you want. And the reason why I'm choosing this theme, you'll see really quick once it installs. And when it installs, the files are all there. All you have to do is click on activate. And when everything's activated, as you can see, your new theme's right there. Now, this theme is extremely powerful, so they have other things that you could install to basically use these additional features, but don't worry about that. So this one's already active, and if you go ahead and visit your website, which we're going to do here, let's go ahead and visit this in another tab. You'll see your new cool site, and once that loads, as you can see, this is really a beautiful modern website. And what we're going to do here, we're going to create like a very simple travel website. So the whole idea with this is just to get you up and running with something that actually looks good. Okay, so I'm going to get into the main points of this, but not the very nitty gritty, because this theme allows you to do so much that it could probably take you hours to go through everything that this theme can do. Plus, this theme is also mobile ready, so if you looked at this on a phone or tablet, it looks great. Okay, so now obviously this is your website, so you want it to have your personality and your taste, I guess. So a lot of that has to do with pictures. So the first thing you want to do is get some really, really cool pictures. And the sites that I'm going to recommend, they're all free. So my favorite site to get free images is pixabay.com. And this website, as you can see, has almost over 500,000 free high quality images. This is all made by people who volunteer or provide their works for free, royalty free, so you don't have to worry about getting sued over these images. Now, even though this is a free site, this thing has amazing pictures. So like I said, we're going to do a travel site. Let's go look up some beaches. And as you can see, there's about 163 pages of pictures related to images. So you see there's just absolutely tons of them. So let's say, for example, you wanted to download one of these. Okay, so let's just choose this one. I don't know, it's just some random crab pictures. So all you have to do is just click on the free download, and I recommend you download the biggest one available. If you want to download the one that's even bigger, like the original, you do have to sign up for a free Pixabay account, but I just go ahead and just normally download here. And when you click on the download, it'll have this CAPTCHA. So go ahead and type in that number that shows up. If you can't read that, just click on this and it'll produce a new one. So we'll go ahead and just download that. And you could always contribute to these people who provide these images, because they are offering this for free. Now, I've already downloaded some images that we can use. So let's go ahead and go back here to our site. So as I stated earlier, you're going to be spending a lot of time here in the appearance section, mostly with the customize. That's where you're going to go first. And when you first see this, it could be really just, daunting, by how many different options that they have. And like I said, you could spend hours just playing with this. But we're going to focus on like the main parts, okay, to get you quickly up and running. So let's go over the parts that I think are important. So here, the site title, tag, and logo. You see where it says, that's your site, cool site. This is awesome. You could change this. So, and the great thing is it actually shows up right here. It's a live editor, so put it in caps. And let's just go even crazier. Yes. Awesome. And you could also do things like uploading your logo and site icon, but I'm not going to go over that right now. So go back. So if you notice this really cool looking image slider, well, let's put in some travel type images, okay? So we're going to go here to header area, okay? And if you see here, there's an option for header slider. Go here. And here, if you scroll down, see, there's different pictures here. There's the first slide, second slide, third slide, fourth slide, and so forth. You can add, I think, up to 5 different images. So let's go ahead and upload our own images that you downloaded from Pixabay. So let's go ahead and change image. And I already had one uploaded here, but you could upload some others. I have some images right here that I'm going to upload. So, and you could select multiple images here. So these are the images I'm going to use. And depending on your internet speeds, it might take a while, but usually it loads pretty quick unless you just had some really gigantic pictures. So let's go ahead and choose this one for our very first slide. Seashells. Go ahead and choose that image. And there you go. And the cool thing with this theme is you could quickly change these text that show up. So here, let's just say, welcome to cool site. Awesome. And then you could change the subtitle to around beach. Okay, that doesn't make any sense, but just wanted to show you how that works. And look, it changes it right there. And you could do the same for the other sides. Let's go ahead and change this slide. I'm not going to change the text for the other ones, but I'm just going to show you how easy that is to do. Boat. And scroll down here. Put in the third slide. How about this umbrella? Let's just choose that. Makes you feel like you're on vacation. Okay, so we've got our slider up there, and this click to begin stuff, I'll show you how that works in just a moment, which is right down here. This is a call to action button, and you can put where this goes. You could either put a different website or a page on your own website. So, and you could even change what the text says here. So that's really awesome, especially if you're building like a business type website. You definitely want to have some type of a call to action there. So that's great. We got our main page set up, at least the front page. So let's go ahead and go back. Now, like I said, there are many, many other features here, and I'm not going to get into all that because that could take hours, so you could go ahead and play around with that. But you want to go ahead and save and publish. Let's go ahead and save and publish this. Now to save, just go ahead and close this. And you'll be back at our site. So you could test to see if this works. Just go ahead and refresh this page. Wow. Awesome. Great. So now let's go ahead and put some other things in there, mainly content and also a menu. But let's start with the content because you're not going to basically have a menu unless you create some content. So the first thing you want to do is go to pages. Okay. You want to create some basic pages on there, like an about page. Let's go ahead and add this one. Let's add travel. And if you want to get just some like filler text in here, you could go to this site called Lipsum, lipsum.com. And this is just like some dummy text. You can actually generate some additional text, but in this case, for this tutorial, I'm just going to copy and paste the text that's already here, just to show you how to create a page. Okay, so I just copy and pasted that right there. And here you could also add images too. So let's go ahead and add media. And let's choose this picture. Okay. And you could also set a featured image. And I'll show you why this is important. It's mainly important for like post, but you should just, get in the habit of doing it initially at the beginning. So we'll just choose that. And there are other options here, but I'm not going to go through these. Like I said, this is going to be like to get you quickly up and running. So you could preview the page first before you publish it or save it as draft, but I'm just going to go ahead and publish this. And before I do that, let me dismiss this notice. It's annoying. Okay, let's go ahead and publish this. Okay. And if you notice, you could actually preview this page. And now if you go to youtubelover.com/travel, you're going to see this right here, the page that you just created. And one thing I did mention, you notice like there's this image up here. This is like a header image, and you could leave that there, you could change it, or you could remove it. Let me show you how to do that real quick. So let's go back to customize. And for this tutorial, I'm probably just going to leave it there, but let me show you how to get rid of it, okay? So you go to the header area, header image. See, there's the image right there. So you could either change the image or you could actually not have it display. So let me disable the overlay. Okay. Or actually, I'm sorry, hide. And so look, the image is gone. Okay. So I myself, I like that image there, but not specifically this image, but probably a different image itself. So check that. Well, so you kind of get how that works. So I'm not going to save that. So let's go back to our site. And now that you have a page created, let's go ahead and create a few more pages. Typically on your websites, you want to have an about page, also some type of a privacy page there as well. It's not absolutely necessary, but Google looks at all those things. Wow, this is really annoying. So, all right, just got rid of it finally. So let's go ahead and go to all pages. And you could duplicate a page as well. So on here, let me see if I could show you to duplicate it. Well, there isn't. On some themes, they allow you to duplicate this, but in this case, it's not. Unfortunately, it's kind of weird. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's create another page here. So let's create contact. Put the same text. Publish. And you could come back here later and edit it. I'm just adding a few more pages, okay? Let's go ahead and add a privacy page. And one thing you notice, I don't know if you noticed, but whenever you type in a new page, you see it's going to add this at the end of your domain, you know. And if you remember initially at the very beginning, we set this thing called permalinks, and that's what it is. It makes it readable for humans. You know, if somebody were to type this in, it's a lot easier. So I don't want to go into too much on that, but that's what that is. Okay, so we'll publish this one. And as you can see now, we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. Great. Now, what we can do is we could actually create a menu. So if you go down here, Appearance and Menus. Okay. And it automatically added these pages here. So let's go ahead and create a menu, because I actually want more control over it than that. So let's go ahead and change this to Main Menu. Create Menu. Okay. So here, if you add more pages, you could add more menu options. So let's say About. You know, I already have it here, but I could add to Menu. Let's see, it's right down there. You could move it around as well. Okay. And you could also remove it. And you can do other things such as custom link. I won't get into that. Like I said, we're just going to get you quickly going. And be sure to use this primary menu. So this is your main menu. And do not check this automatically add new pages, because if you do this every time you add a new page, it'll add it to your menu, and your menus could get really big. So let's see how that looks on our site. So if you go back to your site, my cool site, and let's go ahead and refresh it. Now you have a menu. So let's go ahead and click on some of these. There you go. Nice. Got a really good looking website going already, and that didn't take long at all. So now you see this right area. This is like the widgets area, and this adds more functionality. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and basically add items here. And once we're done there, that should pretty much wrap up on how to build this very cool, awesome, good-looking website that we built in pretty much, you know, less than an hour, you know. And once you get used to this, you could do this whole site in less than 30 minutes or less even. Some people are able to do this in like 15 minutes or less. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to our widgets right here. And there's already a lot of stuff there already. And you could remove these if you want, like archives, you know, don't need that, just remove it. Categories, you know, meta. There's a lot of options here. Okay, so just for this example, I'm going to put a few things here. I'm going to put a post calendar. Okay, and I haven't shown you how to do the post yet, but we'll get to that in just a second. Let's go ahead and add that right here. And we'll also add a text area as well. And I'll show you why that is important a little bit later. Okay. Let's go ahead and save all this. Okay. So let's go ahead and refresh this. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Let's try that again. Okay, so it's refreshing, and now you notice our widget areas. There's different stuff here. Now you need some content right here, and this is where all your blog posts are going to be. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to posts, add new post, and this is very, very similar to creating a page. It's actually pretty much almost identical, except for a few things. So let's go ahead and put our post here. Let's say first post. And just like our pages, you know, it's going to create this link right here. So let's go ahead and paste the text that we had a little bit earlier. Okay, and let's go ahead and add an image here. Let's choose this. Okay, and if you remembered earlier from the setting up the page, you want to set a featured image. Here for a blog, it's really important to do that. You're going to see why. Okay, let's go ahead and save this first. We're going to publish this. I'm going to show you the difference between not having a featured image and having a featured image. Okay, so we created our very first post. Let's go ahead and refresh this site. And there you go, our very first post. And those widgets we added earlier, it should have shown a post right here for the calendar, but it didn't, but that's okay. So you could also click on this first post, and there's your post. But we want to make this real nice on the home page. You know, you want to actually catch people's attention here. This already catches their attention, looks awesome. But, you know, maybe spice it up a little bit on your post. So we'll go back here. So you see where we had our feature image, as I talked about before. Let's go ahead and set the featured image. Now, you don't have to use the same image that you use in your post, but I recommend it. Okay, let's go ahead and save that. Okay, and let's go back to our website. Let's refresh this. And wow, there you go. There's your featured image. Big, bold, and beautiful. That looks great. And the rest of your website looks awesome. And that is it for this very beginner's course on how to create an awesome, cool site. A great looking website. And that didn't cost much at all. And it also realistically didn't really take a lot of time. Now, if you were to try to do this years ago, it would have been extremely difficult and you would have had to be a programming whiz. But nowadays, it's really easy to create your own site that looks great, that's modern, and you know, that has your style on here. And as I said a little bit earlier, this theme is very powerful. WordPress is very powerful. So if you spend a lot of time, there's so many things that you can do on your websites. So that is pretty much it for this tutorial. I really appreciate all of you watching. And if you wanted to start creating your own websites, just as I did below, go ahead and go to the descriptions that I have below, and I will have links to hosting on there, and also I will have links to domains as well. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial on how to create a website, a WordPress website for the cheap in 2016. If you enjoyed this, be sure to click on the like, and we will see you on the very next episode.